Hello, fellow weirdos. I'm Andy Negative, and today we're building the ultimate punk rock guitar. Alright, weirdos, before we jump in, please take a second to subscribe to the channel for all kinds of music, DIY recording, and guitar-related stuff. For those of you that don't know, I have always wanted the Tom DeLonge Strat. You know the one that I'm talking about. The Enema of the State Strat. It's so awesome. It's so friggin' cool. And it's like the guitar that I saw that inspired me to want to pick up guitar in the first place and be a guitar guy. Obviously, you could just go buy that, right? That's easy. Like, they sell them. You can just go buy the signature model. It's not even a big deal. Well, I'm a lefty, in case also you didn't know that. And the thing about being a lefty is that they don't make that guitar for left-handed people. So what does that mean we're gonna do? Well, we're gonna build it ourselves from scratch. Let's do this. Okay, to start off, we're gonna need some parts. First up, I've got a Fender Highway 1 Stratocaster that I picked up off Kijiji. It's kind of cool. It popped up and someone had gotten a custom surf green paint job, which that's the color that we want, so that's the guitar I ended up buying. It didn't cost me too much. I think it was like 500 bucks, which is not too bad for a Fender American-made Strat. It's the color that we want and it's the shape that we want, so we're gonna modify the hell out of it. The Tom DeLonge Stratocaster is known for having the Seymour Duncan Invader pickup in the bridge position. So I got one. Yep, I picked one of these bad boys up. They are gnarly and awesome pickups, and we are going to stick that bad boy in the bridge. I'm also going to need a pick guard, and you would not believe how difficult it is to find a left-handed pick guard for a Strat that only has a humbucker hole in it. I managed to find a company, WD Music, which they make custom pick guards, and they made a Tom DeLonge Strat custom pick guard. The cool thing about it is the volume knob is slightly over from where it sits on a normal Strat, which is one of the things I really wanted, so I wouldn't just like knock into it when I would palm mute and stuff like that. So I managed to find it, but getting this thing into Canada meant that I needed to contact them in the States because there's no Canadian vendor. Then they needed to contact Yorkville, who was the person who distributes them in Canada. I ordered from WD Music, then they had to contact Yorkville and send it to Yorkville, who then had to go through one of their distributor stores so that I could get it. So I couldn't just like go pick it up. I couldn't easily have it delivered to my house. So basically, I ended up having a store in Ottawa. Metro Music was one of their only distributors in the area. So I contacted WD Music, they sent it to Yorkville, and then Yorkville sent it to Metro Music. This pickguard ended up costing me almost as much as the Invader pickup did itself. This pickguard cost me $70. $70 for a pickguard. I needed it. I needed it to be the thing. I went with the black pickguard because I just think it looks so much cooler. I wanted a green on black thing because I just thought, I don't know, that's what I like. So it's like my own little take on the Tom DeLonge Strat. But yeah, so this pickguard thing, what a disaster getting it in here. But I got it, so now we've got the guitar, we've got the pickup, and we've got the pickguard. We can move forward. We're also going to need a volume knob, but I just like had one laying around, so yeah. Let's move forward. My pants are falling down. I gotta put my pants back on. Here's the tools you'll need. So the tools you will need, we're gonna need a soldering iron, we're gonna need some solder, we're going to need a grip tool for holding on to pieces while we solder them, we're going to need a screwdriver, a Phillips head screwdriver, we're gonna need wire cutters for cutting wires, we're gonna need a solder sucker, oh yeah, solder sucker, yeah. It's not dirty, it's for sucking solder. We're gonna need a pair of pliers, we're gonna need some paper towel, we're gonna need some Tupperware to keep our parts in. You should keep your parts separated in Tupperware so you don't lose anything. We're gonna need some tape. Now, a few extra things that we're going to need that I did not cover here. We're gonna need a little bit of extra wire, and we're also going to need a 500K volume pot. Single coil guitars use 250K volume pots, which I did not realize because I've never worked on a single coil guitar before. So we are gonna need some extra wire and a 500K volume pot, which I luckily had one kicking around, so it wasn't a big deal. And yeah, first thing we're gonna do is we're going to take off the back plate, remove the strings, and we're going to see that there are springs on the back that give tension to the bridge. On a Strat, there's usually 3 springs. These 3 springs allow you to have the tremolo bridge. I don't want the tremolo bridge at all. I don't need it going in and out of tune. I don't need a friggin' tremolo. I don't have no use for that. So there's 2 options. Basically, you can put a block of wood against the bridge so that it can't pull forward. Or you can do like we've done here, and you actually put 2 additional springs in, and the extra tension means that once you've tightened up the strings, they won't pull the bridge forward. Luckily, the person that I bought this from, or the person who had it before them, had already locked this bridge down, so I didn't actually have to do anything. But if you want a locked bridge on a Strat, you either need to put a block of wood in the way so it can't pull forward, or you put on 2 additional springs to lock it in place. Now that we've done that, we're going to remove all of the knob covers. We're going to take the cover off of the selector switch. We're going to undo the screws for the selector switch. And we're going to undo the nuts for all of the knobs. With those parts removed, we can take off the pickguard, so unscrew all of the screws, set everything into your Tupperware container so you don't lose anything. Next thing up is we're going to actually remove the screws from the pickups so that the pickups detach from the pickguard. With those parts removed, we can take off the pickguard. Next up, we're going to unscrew the input jack and remove the input jack cover. Then we're going to desolder the input jack and remove it. This guitar had plastic covering the solder points. I've never seen this before, and this is kind of a testament to the quality of this guitar. It definitely seems like I shouldn't have done any work on this guitar and should have just kept it the way that it was. I feel like I'm ruining a piece of art, but you know what? Art is all about interpretation, and I'm definitely going to destroy it. This was soldered incredibly well and was very, very, very difficult to get the solder off. As you can see, the way that it was soldered, it just wasn't going. I'm also really terrible at these kinds of things. I'm willing to admit that. I'm not a professional. So I eventually just cut the input jack off because I couldn't get the solder points out. I have spare input jacks, so I should have put that way at the beginning, that we might need a spare input jack, but I forgot. So you may or may not need a spare input jack at some point. This guitar was made so well that me trying to turn it into a punk rock guitar meant I needed a spare input jack. So different input jack, yeah. As I talked about before, we're gonna have to completely replace the volume pot, the single volume pot, because it needs to be a 500K volume pot. Next, we're going to unbox our Invader pickup. Here we go! Okay, quick intermission. Now that we've got all of the guitar torn to pieces, my camera died, my battery died, and I needed to take a break, do a little bit of research, eat some food, and then come back at it. This is the point where I realized that I needed a different input jack, I needed a different volume pot, and I needed extra wire. This is a good thing to take a break because I had spent several hours on it, and I was hungry and I was getting frustrated, which is a good point. I think at certain junctures you're going to need to take breaks from these kinds of things, and you can't necessarily just do it all in one sitting, and it's kind of for the best that I took a break because it was able to give me kind of like new eyes on the thing. I was getting frustrated, you know, when things aren't going your way, you start to get frustrated, and then you're not doing the work the best that you can. So I took a bit of a break, and then I came back at it. Okay, so now that we've got ourselves relaxed and sorted out, we're going to wire together the output jack. I think I missed some stuff here, guys. I'm taking a break for 2 seconds. Guys, I messed up. I messed up in this video. You just relax, it's all gonna be okay. I just need to find out where the... No. Okay, no, I must have missed something. Right, so now we're gonna put the pickup in and wire up the output jack. This is where that wire is going to come in handy. I'm gonna start by wiring the output jack to the volume pot. You'll peel a little bit of the rubber off of the wire with your wire snips, and then you're going to tin your leads. So when you tin your lead, you basically put a small amount of solder on the actual metal part of the wire, and it just helps them to fit in the holes better, and also it makes them slightly more durable. So always tin your leads. It's just a good habit to get into. You're going to take the lead, which in this case I've used the red one, to be the hot lead, which is going to go from the output jack directly to the center of the 3 rings, and then you're going to run the ground from the input jack, and you're going to solder it to the back of the potentiometer, the volume pot. That's the official name for a volume pot, the potentiometer. And then we're going to install the pickup. Now, Seymour Duncan has, these things are pretty simple. They have an awesome wiring schematic. There are multiple leads coming out of this thing because you can do multiple different pickup options that you can use. But since we're just going with a very straightforward 1 volume pot, 1 pickup setup, really we don't need very much. The only wires we're going to use here is we're going to use the black one and the ground. So basically, we're going to tin together the red and the white and tape them off. There's that tape finally coming into use. And then we're going to attach the black wire to the potentiometer, which will pass signal. And then we will take the ground and the green and we will solder it to the back of the potentiometer as the ground. This is super simple and it's very straightforward, and it says right in the instructions. So if you're using one of these things, it's dirt simple, and I'm pretty sure they also have all their instructions online, so you can get them there if you get lost. Something that I found out that I was unaware of is that with Strats, because of the bridge plate on the back, you actually need a second ground wire. You can see it right here. It attaches underneath the pickup, just right there. So there is a crazy amount of buzzing without this second ground wire, and a humbucker is supposed to buck the hum, as the name implies. So you actually need to put this extra ground wire in to kill as much of the hum as possible from this bad boy. So make sure that you reattach this, otherwise you're gonna the buzzing is unreasonable. And then the guitar is effectively ready to go. Now, I messed up again and wired the potentiometer backwards, which means that it just rolled the wrong direction to turn on and off. So at this point I had to go back, unsolder the potentiometer, and switch the leads to the opposite sides. I'm left-handed, so of course I just ruin everything by doing it all backwards. But at this point the guitar is done. I have tested it. Basically you just plug it into an amp and you tap the poles, and if there's sound coming out of the amp, you're good to go. Then we're gonna restring it back up, and you know what? I've been talking for a while. Let's be honest, you guys are really here for one thing and one thing only. You wanna hear how the friggin' guitar sounds. So let's find out if I've succeeded in building the ultimate punk rock guitar. Here's what it sounds like just by itself. Here's what it sounds like in a mix. that's that. My ultimate left-handed Tom DeLonge punk rock signature guitar that I built from scratch-ish. And made a lot of mistakes building, and learned a lot along the way too, which was pretty cool. This guitar plays like a dream. I absolutely love this thing. Since I built it, there's been a big gap between building the guitar, filming the video, and actually putting it out. And I've played it a lot. I've used it on stage a ton with Quinzel, and honestly, it is so wonderful to play. I play it at basically every practice, and playing it live, it's quickly become my main guitar. I love this thing. It's light, it's loud, it's snarly. The contour on the neck is super nice and it's not too heavy. I adore this guitar. It is easily now my favorite guitar. That's it for today. If there's any other cool guitar builds or modifications you guys would like to see me do in the future, please let me know down in the comments. That's something that we could maybe take a look at, is modding guitars more, especially left-handed guitars, to make them more viable. If you found this video informative or entertaining, please obliterate that like button. If you would like to support me further, please consider joining my exclusive community of weirdos over on Patreon. My community have their names included at the end of all my videos. They get early access to all of my content, and they get exclusive music that is only available over on Patreon. With that said, that's all for today. Stay tuned for a list of my patrons just following the end of this. I'm Andy Negative, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Bye!